We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Hear me talking to you. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
I'm Wayne Randall, finance editor with the National Black Unity News and host of the Finance Hour. In this fourth showcase, I'll be spotlighting who's who in the National Black Unity News and the reason why they have chosen to be a part of this publication and what they felt they could contribute to the overall success of the paper. Take a listen.
Hello, everyone. It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder, and I am President CEO of JNF Enterprises LLC, which is a business consulting and book publishing consulting firm located right here in Baltimore City.
Thank you for that, Dr. McKenzie, and thank you for being a part of this special fourth showcase of who's who in the National Black Unity News. And with that said, I want to kind of just delve into how did you manage to get involved with the publication in the first place?
Well, I actually, and it's been maybe 6 years now or so, but brother David Murphy and I, we actually were vending at the same event.
Oh, okay.
And we got to having a conversation. I told him about what I was doing with me being an author, but then also actually working with and doing consulting with other authors and publishing other authors at the time. And he said, well, we should do something with the paper together. And so he told me the idea of having this author showcase where the newspaper would give a platform to different authors to be able to come on, to be able to be in the newspaper, because it's a quarterly newspaper, but to be able to be in the paper, and to be able to give them a platform to be able to talk about their mission, their message, their movement and motivation. I was like, well, wow. I said, that sounds really great, because I knew and I know that mainstream media does not give attention to Black authors. So they don't. So I said, man, I said I'm all for it. So we put together a package that we felt was really, beneficial for both the paper and for authors, to giving them the platform to be able to be a part of the paper, but then also expanding the capacity, the reach of the newspaper. So that's how we came together.
Thank you for sharing that. And this is what I want to say. After he pitched that to you, how long was it before you seriously decided to commit to that?
Oh, it didn't take long at all. I think we talked. I know we talked maybe once or twice after that, and then we developed the package, which was the authors being in the newspaper, giving them an interview to go along with it, allowing them to be able to have a copy of the file so that they could put it on their social media. We will put it on our social media, and then they get a complimentary copy of the newspaper. We put that together very quickly, and then it's been a matter of just lining up the authors that want to be a part of the showcase. That's what we've done since that day. So it didn't take long at all. It was not long at all. I think by the next issue, that when it came out, I think we were rocking and rolling, or the issue after that. It wasn't much longer after that.
Sounds good. And what year was that, if you remember, that you came in?
Yeah, I'm thinking it was like 2018. Yeah, I think it was I believe it was 2018, 2019. So, because it was, it's been, because it happened. I know it happened. Maybe we've been doing it a year or two before the pandemic.
Okay.
So it was around that time.
Well, I like to say that you actually answered my second question, because you definitely had a great deal to contribute.
Mhm.
Because by setting that platform up, obviously, it allowed other authors that weren't in the paper or were in the paper to have a platform, to advertise their publications and their work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that was great, and like you said, it didn't take long for you to make that
Yeah.
decision. It was pretty much a no-brainer.
Right. Exactly.
It
It
sounds
really was.
like, you know, what I say that was like two worlds aligned,
Hmm.
and there was, you know, persistence and perseverance met each other, and you were right at the right place where you're supposed to be. What achievement have you made that you feel has added to the most success of this publication?
Well, I think that to me, the achievement has been
Mm-hmm.
giving um, giving the authors that have been a part of the showcase,
Mm-hmm.
giving them the opportunity to be able to one tell their story. Because as I tell them, it's more than just their books.
Yes, yeah, sure.
It's way we go beyond
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
book and being able to present the book in the paper. I said it goes beyond that. So allowing them to be able to share their stories, and I just did a showcase yesterday with a phenomenal young lady, and named Catrice, and it each time that I interview an author, I gain something from them myself,
Mhm.
just by listening to them, hearing their story, um, and being able to allow them to be able to touch other people that they might not have ordinarily touched had they not been a part of the newspaper, and having those stories being able to go out, not just here in our country, but to be able to touch
Oh, yeah,
people
yeah.
across the world, man.
Who makes up the National Black Unity News? It's comprised of a multi-talented network of professionals that span the globe. In this showcase, we'll talk to the very people who contribute the success of this national network. Here you'll hear what drives the very people and what they're passionate about.
I mean, this is what this is about.
Yeah.
People who don't know, this paper is here in the diaspora, Panama, Africa, it's in lots of states already here in the States, but
Hmm.
abroad, Amsterdam, Ghana, and we got people all over the place. That is really the great part about it. And it is a very powerful launching pad. It was really great seeing you down at the World Conference, when we were down at the World Conference at the Convention Center.
Hmm.
Did you
Hmm.
meet any authors when you were down there?
I'm trying to think. I think I met a couple of them. I met a couple of authors. But then there was also, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with everyone's bookstore, or everyone's place, which is a bookstore owner, which is a bookstore right here in Baltimore, right on
Okay.
North Avenue. But they're also a distributor, so I got a chance to talk with some of them, and then I think I knew there were a couple that worked our table that were authors from
Yeah.
from the newspaper, and then I think I've met maybe a couple of other authors that weren't a part of our group and everything like that that have written books and everything. So.
Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
know that you are actually, aren't you affiliated with, what is it, Christian Authors on Tour?
Yes, yes,
Can you
yes,
tell
yes.
us a little bit about that connection, that affiliation that you have with those guys?
Yeah, actually, the Christian Authors on Tour is a phenomenal organization started by Miss Lynn Pender, and she and I have known each other for a number of years. And Christian Authors on Tour is, I think, I want to say 12 years old or so. It's
Mhm.
somewhere around there. And I've been a part of that since its inception. She had this phenomenal idea of giving Christian authors a platform to be able to come together and to be able to promote their books and to be able to talk about their being on fire for the Lord, but also the Christian aspect of being an author. So all of us that are part of the organization are just authors who have a love for God, a love for writing, and just a passion for what we do and touching people's lives in the way that we touch them through our words and through our stories that we tell and through our voices, in books.
I'm glad you elaborated on that because let's go back maybe a couple of months, and this is the fourth showcase, and I was working on the women's author showcase in Lynn Pender. She had recommended somebody from that organization to me. Her name was Rosemary Downer, Dr. Rosemary Downer, and she was a pretty astute woman. She worked at the Department of Agriculture and was a adjunct professor for Bowie State University. So she's actually in that women's author showcase, and she came from Pender, the same lady you were talking about that you've known for years. So, this is where worlds collide together, and these opportunities line up in such a way where nothing's a coincidence at all. There's no accidents. And we're doing this because, and this is the great thing about this particular platform, because this is not categorized as for authors only. We'll just try to gather as many talents that are available. And what's going to really happen is we're probably going to have 3 people in a showcase at a time. And we'll just be series 1, 2, 3, and so on, however it might be. But it's definitely an honor to have you on this to tell people how it came about, the inception and the journey. Everybody wants to hear a success story. Everybody wants to hear a success story. How did it come about? What was, everybody wants to hear that, What do you see from this point on, Dr. McKenzie? What is it that you mostly want to achieve from where you are now? You want to preface this, you're already doing great things. What do you want to do from this point on? What do you envision?
Well, here's what my goal is always, and I say this, my mission, my purpose is to make people better, and to make people better by the end of the year than they were at the beginning of the year. So I start my years off saying that and using that as a guide, and I call it the slight edge principle, which is just being 1% better each and every day, and asking myself, how can I make myself better? But then how can I make others that I encounter better as well? And if I walk in that mindset, then I'm always looking to achieve. I'm always looking to expand. And with that comes with making other people better. Just because I'm making myself better, and I'm intentional about making other people better. Just 1% each and every day. That's it.
That should be everyone's life ambition, to try to be their best self that they can be. We're definitely not the person we used to be 10 or 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
I like to think that you have evolved into a better you, where you are now. You handle things differently. Somebody might tell you something before. You might have went from 0 to 100 now. You may still stay at a simmer, no matter what they tell you. And you take it totally different. You just take a deep breath. And people go, wow, didn't you hear that? Yes, I did. But it's just where you have evolved and how you handle things now.
Right, correct.
You handle things. Because you don't want to fly off the handle. You want to handle things that, take it in, let it fester, decide what it is, what's going on. And I like what you said, because what you're doing is you're helping others, and in essence, you're helping yourself too.
The National Black Unity News is a multi-talented network of individuals across a vast array of fields. It's a solution-based periodical that's uniqueness places it in a class of its own. It has expanded its reach from here and abroad to parts of the diaspora, and it's still growing. Networks are still being formed, which have galvanized an overwhelming interest in the publication.
Muhammad Ali said that if you are the same person at 40 that you were at 20, you've wasted 20 years of your life. So we should be ever evolving.
Evolving, yes.
Ever moving, and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be the same person that we were, yesterday, today that we were yesterday, or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because we're evolving. Like you said, we're learning something, just something from somebody else. Just the
Oh yeah.
mere fact of being in other people's, in other people's presence and everything.
A wise man once told me it's not about the destination, but the journey.
Yep.
And this
Absolutely.
life that we're on is nothing but a journey. And people come into your space, people come, people go, some stay, some leave, however it may be. And through these exchanges of information and experiences, we should evolve. And you were
Correct.
so right. I mean, quoting Muhammad Ali, can you imagine someone still being who they were when they were 20?
I know.
At
I know, man.
40 or 50? Actually, it's rather scary.
And the sad thing about that is there are some people who still have the same mentality that they did when they were 20.
That's very scary. That's very scary. Dr. McKenzie, thank you for giving us, you have all this wisdom exuding out of you. And with a few forewords that you might want to say before you leave us, because this is a short showcase. But, what would you want to leave saying to maybe an upcoming author or someone inspiring to try to put a book together? Because when I was on the Zoom call the other night, it's like somebody had said, we have all the tools. All the tools are there. I mean, we have multiple talents of people to do all types of things. Somebody asked me something about writing. I said, no, you got the wrong guy. That's not me. I write what I write, but I stay in my lane. I do the film thing. I do this other thing I do. I respect you guys doing what you're doing. You're the prolific writers and you have this imagination. I write the financial stuff. I'm pretty much looking at what's happening in the economy and I put it in layman's words and I give it to you. That's what I do, But yeah. What can you say to some of these upcoming people or somebody aspiring to want to be a writer?
Yeah, and what I would say is this, and this is my main foundation, is just never stop believing. And that's never stop believing in you, never stop believing in what it is that you're writing. Believe in it, because if you can't believe in it, if you don't believe in it, then don't expect anyone else to. Even if that project is only meant for one person, it's meant for that one person. And who are you to hold on to something that was meant for somebody else? So whatever it is, write it. Never stop believing in it. It'll touch who it's supposed to touch. It'll reach who it's supposed to reach.
Yeah.
But you've gotta be the one that says, this is what I believe in. This is my piece of contribution to the world. And leaving that behind, because your book is gonna outlive you.
Yep. And that's something. Hear that, people? You heard it here on the Finance Hour from Dr. McKenzie. Those are words of wisdom. Whatever you're writing, or you're singing, playing an instrument, whatever it might be, it's for someone. It's going to touch someone's spirit. Somebody's going to galvanize towards it. Somebody's going to get something from it. Just like he said, the takeaway is not to give up. Don't stop. That's the difference between a winner and a loser. The loser stops. The winner might get tired and slow down, but they never stop. They never stop. They still see the finish line, no matter how weary they get. Dr. McKenzie, it's been a pleasure chatting with you for this period of time. I'm going to see you on the other side.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
This recording won't come out until maybe sometime later in August or maybe early September, but you're going to be a part of it.
Cool.
You're going to be a part of it. You enjoy the rest of your day, okay, and your weekend.
All right, you too as well. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of it. Appreciate it.
Be safe out there, doctor.
All right, you too. Stay cool.
All right. Okay. I'm going to try to. Okay. All right.
All right. Thanks, man.
Okay.
The National Black Unity News is a multi-talented network of individuals across a vast array of fields. It's a solution-based periodical that's uniqueness places it in a class of its own. It has expanded its reach from here and abroad to parts of the diaspora, and it's still growing. Networks are still being formed, which have galvanized an overwhelming interest in the publication. Its success is because of the people who are a part of it. Only the future knows how many more people it will attract. Who makes up the National Black Unity News? It's comprised of a multi-talented network of professionals that span the globe. In this showcase, we'll talk to the very people who contribute the success of this national network. Here you'll hear what drives the very people and what they're passionate.
Sharia Denise Young-Smith, an author, entrepreneur, a proofreader, research assistant, and subject coordinator.
Thank you for sharing that, Cherie. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a part of this Who's showcase in the National Black Unity News.
Thank you.
You and I, we know each other. Just to let everybody know, I think we really go back like a good close to 5 years, I believe. And you were with the paper, I believe, then, weren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's a question. Even though you were involved with the paper, then how did you become involved with the paper? What was your connection at that time?
Became involved with the Black National Unity newspaper through my uncle Rico, who is the co-founder of God's Given Hands, which is a homeless organization who feeds the homeless and clothes the homeless every third Thursday of each month.
I'm glad. Thank you for telling me that and telling everybody else that, because on the cuffs of that is exactly how I actually ended up in this paper myself. From a business meeting with your uncle at the Terry Cafe on one of those business brunches that they were at that time were having every first Saturday of the month. And that's when I met David Murphy.
Absolutely. I remember that day. I was there and it was a great event. And we also talked about going down to the War Memorial Building. We had an author showcase in which I was a part of. And I'm truly grateful for being a part of that through yourself and my uncle, as well as David Murphy. Truly a great team to be a part of. For teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes, it does. This showcase is really to allow people in the paper to explain what it was or what it is they had to offer to the success of the paper by joining the paper. And tell us a little bit about what you do, Cherie, for the viewing people.
So as an author, I wrote 2 books and I will hold them up. One is called I Decided to Make Jesus My Choice, Praise and Devotions, which is a daily devotion that will lift you up and inspire you throughout your week before going to work or heading off for education. I also have a book called God Ain't Down With Me Yet, Uniquely Blessed, which talks about my journey growing in adulthood and dealing with family strife. But it is a motivational, encouraging, educational, and inspirational book that will truly bless each and every one of you. Those books can be found at uniquelyblessed1.com or amazon.com. I am also a research and subject coordinator with the Johns Hopkins University, as well as Brandeis University, where we look at people who are blind and non-sighted, sighted people, looking at the plasticity of the brain, comparing how blind people and sighted process information. And then we also look at people who are colored and disabled, and we find out how they dealt with being in transitional homes or nursing facilities and how they were able to come out of those facilities into permanent housing.
Okay, that sounds like you're in a capacity where you're doing something as part of the human condition. This is something like human services or something?
Yes, you can say human services.
Okay. And you are doing this.
I also work with the Maryland Department of Education, where I have to proofread textbooks, ensuring that they are brailled correctly for our blind and visually impaired children so that they can be successful in the classroom.
Mhm. Thank you for
And it's a
sharing.
part of the Maryland School for the Blind. You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing that. And you have a background, you have a master's. What is your master's in again?
Master's is in Human Services with a concentration in rehabilitation. And I'm on my way to my doctorate's degree. I will start in August in ministry at the St. Mary's Ecumenical Institution and University.
Oh, we wish you the best with that. You hear that, people? Now, I know it's a lot of reading involved with that. Now, I just wanted to bring that up about the master's because I remember interviewing you 5 years ago, and you had that. So, no, we wish you well with this future endeavor to try to work on getting your doctorate. And I know you're laser
Thank you so
focused.
much. I appreciate it.
I know you're laser focused. You'll do it. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of
Absolutely.
time.
Thank you.
Now, as you continue on with your journey with the paper, what achievements would you like to say that you would like to see you accomplish through this platform with the National Black Unity News going forward in the future?
In the forwarding future, the achievements that I would like to accomplish would be to continuously give part of my proceeds to God's given hands to help support the homeless population, which is one of my passions. And I just want to be able to educate African Americans so that others can be a part of it and get their businesses out, because we all want to be able to succeed. So as David Murphy always said, if we can help you, let us start by helping you now.
That's true. I mean, as we help others, we're helping ourselves too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And our businesses will flourish.
Who makes up the National Black Unity News? It's comprised of a multi-talented network of professionals that span the globe in this showcase. We'll talk to the very people who contribute the success of this national network. Here you'll hear what drives the very people and what they're passionate about.
The challenges that maybe you had to overcome to help you get to where you are.
So growing up, going through school, I did not have the reasonable accommodations I needed to be successful in my education, such as my work was not done in a timely manner. It wasn't brailled within the time I needed to be successful in class. And so I dropped out of school in the 12th grade. So I decided to have a meeting with my teachers and the teachers of the visually impaired and the school board, because I felt like this would allow me to become successful and get the reasonable accommodations needed for me to be successful. And as a result of that meeting, I graduated with honors, just like my sighted peers. And I was able to further my education and receive an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's, and now on my way to a doctorate's degree.
Yeah. You hear that, people? That's quite an accomplishment.
Being a business entrepreneur, some of the challenges that you face. Thank you.
Yes, it's quite
some of the challenges that I face. Go ahead.
No, that's quite an accomplishment. I mean, we even have people who are sighted and they're only handicapped by their minds. See?
Absolutely.
And that's what it is. I mean, some people, they put stumbling blocks in their own way, and they're sighted people, as we know. Sheree, you can rest your arms now. Yeah, you can rest your arms now. But no, I wanted you to, tell us what your experience was like, because we know this life, it does bring about many obstacles.
Absolutely.
We know that, and it's being, African Americans, what a lot of times doors, they don't just fly open for us, you know, especially if you're not born with a crystal staircase. You understand?
Absolutely. And
So-
if you are not only an African American, but also a person with a disability, such as myself, being blind, it makes it more challenging because I have to not only advocate for myself, but I have to sell myself to others to let them know that I'm still capable of performing the same things that you're able to perform as a sighted person,
Mhm.
being an entrepreneur, being a mom, being a wife, being a African American who's employed.
And on that same note, speaking about proving oneself, I'm sure you probably find yourself in that situation all the time. You know, I know it had to be quite a challenge to get that job, land that job at Johns Hopkins. This is Johns Hopkins, people, world-renowned Johns Hopkins.
Absolutely.
So what was that journey like from start to finish?
Actually, I can't say that it was a challenge.
Mhm.
I would say that it was more of a remarkable accomplishment because
Mhm.
when my supervisor saw me, she was sighted.
Mhm.
And we were at a convention for the National Federation of the Blind, and
Mhm.
they were doing an experiment that was a test experiment on the brain. And people were coming in and they were taking part of this experiment. And I was one of them. And she asked me afterwards, she was like, would you like to work for Johns Hopkins? Because I started telling people about the experiment. And I brought so many people to her while at convention that she wanted to bring me on as a part of the team and hire me. And she asked me would I love to work for Johns Hopkins University. And I said, absolutely. I submitted my resume along with my educational experiences and all of the requirements needed. And I became a part of it. They had a blessing ever since I started. And I've been there almost a year now.
Oh, congratulations again, Cherie,
Thank
for
you.
that. I mean, the making something that could have been an arduous task seem like it was effortless. But I think what it was is they saw in you, they saw perseverance, they saw excellence, they saw all of that in you and just offered you the job.
Yeah.
It actually,
I'm grateful.
yeah, and I know you to be that type of person. It sounds like perseverance and persistence met each other right at the crossroads, and you walk right into a blessing.
Hey,
You walk right into a blessing. You know,
amen.
if you being an author, is it anything else? Wait a minute now. I know you're already in your doctoral studies now.
Yes, I will start August the 28th.
Okay, because where I was going at with my line of questioning is did you have any other manuscripts or anything else in mind as far as literary work in mind that you wanted to achieve going forward? But
I will in the future. I'm actually working on it, but I want it to be a part of my dissertation with my doctorate program. So I am in the process of discussing that with my advisors at St. Mary's.
Okay. St. Mary's, now, are you talking about St. Mary's in Virginia?
No, it's St. Mary's on Roland Avenue.
Oh, my.
So it's St. Mary's Medical Institution and University. It's at 5400 Roland Avenue.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Okay. That's over there. Isn't that somewhere near Gilman School for Boys?
Yes, not far.
Right.
It's right off of Northern Parkway.
I know what we're talking about. Okay. And your doctorate. What are you going to be getting your doctorate in?
Ministry. So it's called a DMin, Doctorate in Ministry.
Okay. There we go. You're going to be gracing people with the word.
Amen.
Who makes up the National Black Unity News? It's comprised of a multi-talented network of professionals that span the globe. In this showcase, we'll talk to the very people who contribute the success of this national network. Here you'll hear what drives the very people and what they're passionate about.
I want to say about youth. I mean, we had a landslide case with a youth just recently in the news, and that you see how that turned out. What would you want to say to these young people to give them, instill some wisdom on them?
The key to success in life is to get your education and graduate from high school. Even if you decide that college is not for you,
Mm-hmm.
obtain an apprenticeship or a great career passion. Align yourself so that you can be successful in life and become independent and don't have to wait on a government check each month. Become independent so that you can be successful with your careers, and anything that you set your mind to, know that you're able to achieve it.
Well, you are so right about that, Cherie. And hear that, people. This is the path that these young people need to take. Unfortunately, we know a lot of these young people come from broken homes.
Yes.
There's not a father figure there for the
Right.
young men to get some type of structure to see what a man should be like. Not trying to be the man, but just being a man.
Absolutely.
The role a man has to take to get to where he has to be the man to possibly take care of himself one day, sustain himself, and then possibly, if he ever has a family, to do that too. And to have a mother too. You need to have that. You need to have that balance. And that's what I see over and over. A lot of these young people, they're from broken families. So they already come out the gate at a loss.
Right.
That's what's happening. And then they get out there and then they get tied into a gang, and the gang is their family. Now we know where that's going at.
Absolutely.
See.
And I would also say, to be successful, find a mentor that can give you scripture, support you with prayer, and love you with positive things, and show you how to go out there and get that job and be successful in performing interviews, so that you'll be blessed with that amazing career that will set you up for life.
Yeah. And then within that journey, they possibly might be able to find themselves and find something that they want to do with themselves. Like you said, everybody's not going to go to college. Maybe, like you said, an apprenticeship. Apprenticeship is a very good place for any young person, young man or young lady, to start. And then later you might go to the university.
Absolutely.
You know, everything is just a launching pad, but it's getting to these young people early enough before they get tied up into the penal system. And we know that can be a vicious cycle, just going back and forth.
Absolutely.
And hear what Cherie said, getting your high school diploma. Let that be the takeaway, young people. You have to get the high school diploma, because that is the launching pad to go forward to do anything else. You ain't go to trade school, you don't have the high school diploma. You know. Cherie, if there's anything you want to say in closing, you say whatever it is to tell us, embrace us about what it is you want to do, what your insights are for these future endeavors. Or please do. We want to hear it.
And thank Mr. Wayne Randall.
You're welcome.
Mr. David Murphy, my uncle Rico Crowley, and all of those who have allowed me to take part in this amazing newspaper that will educate, inspire, and motivate each and every African American who reads this paper. So I would say, get involved. I can't stress it enough. Your business will grow. You will be educating others. And in my future endeavors, I look forward to coming back on the show to let you know where I am, to let you know what work will be coming forth as I continue to write, and how I have been a blessing to the youth and others through receiving my doctorate of ministry from St. Mary's Ecumenical Institution and University. And I'll say to all of you, remember in everything that you do, continue to trust the Lord and give God praise! Exclamation point.
Thank you for that, Cherie. Thank you. See, you heard it on the Finance Hour. That was Cherie Young. See, she's going to be going into a doctoral program to get her PhD, and she will be coming back. I interviewed you, I believe it was 4.5 years ago, and here you are. And when you come back, and in the near future, we will have you in another one of these showcases again. Cherie, you enjoy the rest of the day, you and your family. It was a pleasure having you, okay?
It was a pleasure being a part. Thank you so much. Be blessed.
You too, Cherie. You too, be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
To talk to you about some strategies that will help you reach your target savings goals, increase your rainy day fund, and expand your financial portfolio. This is part of the money management strategies I'll be talking to you about for a minute or so.
Let's take a look at the 50% graph on what you spend on your needs. Let's look at the 20% graph of your net income of savings and investments. Now look at the 30% graph on non-essential.
This includes dinners, shopping, theater tickets, night on the town, movies. These are just things to consider when making these choices.
We as a nation have endured a lot due to the shutdown. I understand how it is. It will remain etched in our minds forever.
These are areas where you can curtail your spending and save a great deal more on your weekly and biweekly pay. By putting that 20 or 30% aside, you'll see it increase monthly.
Well, this is very different for me, but let me tell you who I am first of all. First of all, my name is Dr. Barbara J. Wattice. That J stands for something I don't particularly care for. I'm a retired educator, been in the system about, I always tell people, laughingly, 100 years, from elementary school to the university colleges like Towson and Johns Hopkins and Sojourner Douglas College. I am a person who loves education. And the only reason why I retired from Baltimore City Public Schools is because it got to the point where there was no teaching going on. It was all doing a lot of you do this, you do that, you do the other, and not teach. Mm-hmm. So that's when I decided that I no longer needed to be in with Baltimore City because I was not doing my children a service. Mm-hmm. That's about Barbara J. Wattice. I do a lot of things, trust me. I belong to a ministry called Worth Ministry, and that's Women on Route to Higher Heights. And it is a ministry of women, like I said, and we really, really, really have been together for 25 years. On last Saturday, we had an anniversary, and it was 25 years. And in 25 years, what I like about this ministry of women is that the way we met and the way we have acted during that process has never changed. Never had a misunderstanding. If something ever came up about anything or anyone, we always took it to the person. God has been so good. That's what I call women on higher heights, you know? So that's what I do. Then I also have a telephone ministry, and I think that one of the persons I contact is the person who I'm talking to right now. I send out inspirational messages.
Yes, you do.
Every Monday morning. I try to make it on Monday morning.
Yes, you do.
I make it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I send out, because I think that people need to know that somebody's thinking about them. And you never know what a message can do for a person. You just never know what that person is going through that particular moment. So that's what I do. God's given me an opportunity to do that. I do it, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I think I sent one to you just this past Monday, and you said, "Thank you so much. I needed that."
I did. I had a lot going on that particular day, and I didn't know that on the other end how you actually do it, but I receive them from time to time. And thank you for sharing that, Barbara.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing and talking to us about your list of accolades and accomplishments that you have achieved and why you walked away from the school system.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't as challenging, like you said, for your children anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because education, as I said earlier before we started this recording, it should be engaging.
Yeah.
It should be fun. And you do just that. And I mean, you do a great deal of things that you do with the National Black Unity News. I don't think we would be able to thrive the way we do because here you are, a literary professor, and as you know, words are power.
Mm-hmm.
Words are power, the way you write them, the way you use them, the way you speak them, and they should be in the right context. And where would we be without you? When did I want to ask you, Barbara, how did you get involved with this publication? Because this is the who's who in the National Black Unity News, this particular showcase. So please tell us, how did that come about?
Well, let me start back from the beginning. First of all, my husband and I met David about, I guess now it's been about 30 years ago. And we were at a dinner, and this was when you had the other paper. And we just got to talking and so forth and so on. And he said, I need someone to do some writing for me and some editing for me. And I said, that's what I do. He said, are you serious? I said, yes, that's what I do. So we started with that particular paper. And then after that, sort of weaned away from that. One night, I think I was talking to David about something else. And I think he had forgotten about the paper before then, but that's what I did for him.
Right.
And he was saying, I really wish I could find someone to do some editing for me and some things. He said, I just need some editing. And I said, David, don't you remember? That's what I do. I said, I'll do it for you. He said, are you serious? I said, yes, I'll do it for you because I love doing that. I love being able to look and sort of digest what people are saying and then use their message to create and help them build a stronger message. I love that. That's what I like to do.
Oh, and I've been the recipient on that. You sent me something back and said, Wayne, I really like what you said, but I went over it, and please read this over what I critiqued because I wanted to make it stronger. And that's what you do. I mean, when people send their drafts in, for people who don't know, before the publication hits the press, Barbara, she goes over the drafts. It's a second set of eyes, and she, being the professor that she is, she knows how something should be written, or probably what it is you really wanted to say, but it just wasn't written right. And that means a great deal, right? That has a lot to do with the publication because once it's out, it's out.
I'm going to use you as an example. If you are like me, when you are creating through your process of trial and error, you're jotting down notes, and sometimes you're waking up in the middle of the night and probably have things on your mind, and you wake up and write something down. Do you do that, Wayne?
Yes, I do. I'm up wee hours in the night doing, it's just insane sometimes. Especially with this editing and production process when you're trying to put these scenes together. And maybe the right transition is going to fit here. Just, as the spirit moves me, I try to do it, and I document everything. I have folders on every project. I might use a technique from another project, and I like that technique. Let me use it in this one. And it fits. And what fits, I use. If it doesn't fit, I take it out.
Sometimes you look back at some of the writings that you did before I came on board, and you look at it and you said, oh my goodness, I can't believe I wrote that. Because you look at some of the mistakes that you made. I even do that with my own writing.
Right. Oh my. Oh my.
You laugh at yourself too sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? I like to do this because I respect everyone's style of writing. And as I read it and I feel what I call your authorial voice, your authorship voice.
Yeah.
not mine.
Yeah.
Your unique collection of words as you have built your narrative structures and your sentences. And then I look at how you capture reality through those words and sentence descriptions. And that's when I begin to build on what you've done, not for me, but for you.
Mm-hmm.
I get to know the person, and that's exciting to me.
Yeah.
That's how I get to know how you feel through your writing, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's almost the same thing with this process here.
Mm-hmm.
Interviewing people, you get a sense of who they are.
Yep.
You get a sense of their character, who they are, and then, you know, sometimes we're in these public forums and then I get a chance to meet the very people that I've interviewed. You know, I want to go back to these questions I had. How was it long before you decided you seriously wanted to commit to the National Black Unity News to be a part of it?
Oh, no, it was right away.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't have a second thought about it. I knew that that's what I like to do, and I knew that there was a need, and I wanted to help fulfill that need.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I mean, like you said, you were already dead set on it. That's what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What achievements would you say, Barbara, that you have made that have added to the success of this publication up to now?
I think my being able to chime in and to get to understand what each of you try to say in your own way, and then for me being able to incorporate your style mixed with what I know that style could be even better when it's written correctly. That's what I think I've accomplished. I think I've accomplished that. That's the level I always try to reach. I don't want it to look like what I wrote. I always want it to look like what you wrote, what came from your heart, from your emotions, from your feelings. And I try to incorporate all of that into one piece of one word, maybe just one word, just changing one word sometimes makes all the difference in the world in the way something flows. And that's what I try to do.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Barbara.
Who makes up the National Black Unity News? It's comprised of a multi-talented network of professionals that span the globe in this showcase. We'll talk to the very people who contribute the success of this national network. Here you'll hear what drives the very people and what they're passionate about.
Don't use these pronouns. Don't start off with like I
Mm-hmm.
in the start of a sentence because it's only going to go so far.
Right.
And you will not be able to expound on your thoughts. Now, in that meeting, I was overdoing, I was writing things down because, you know, and I thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Not to start your statements off with I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I thought about that. And right now, I actually owe you guys an editorial. I'm actually working on, I should probably give it to you probably by tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, but no, thank you for sharing that because we want people to know what it is you do behind the scenes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I want you to tell people too. I mean, you're quite a poet. You're sure quite a poet. I mean, you wrote some things, many things you had shared with us, some romantic things and some things that were very moving.
Yeah.
Some for men and
Yeah.
some for women. And I mean, I was absolutely floored when you shared some of this with us. I think it was sometime last year before we really got involved with the whole B. Gaddy documentary.
Right.
And you were going over some things with me and sharing some things. There was another time last year, sometime you were sharing some of your poetry. Some of it was geared for men, and some of it was geared for women.
Right.
And as you were getting into it, people, you had to have heard this because that's when you know a person is a very prolific writer. They know the right words to say that paint a picture for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was doing. It's painted a picture. And you were talking about something about a woman and a man and all of that. I was blown away. I was just blown away about it. No.
It was interesting to me because you guys had never had any idea that I could go that particular route. You know
Oh,
me as being one way. And then when I came and blew your mind, then you're like, oh my goodness, there's another side to Dr. Watis.
yes, yeah. I mean, you're right. And people do have many sides, but I was blown away. You shared it with us, and I was in awe.
Yes.
I was in awe, and I think you shared a few pieces with us. I don't know if you have anything in the front of you.
Can always,
Any of your poetry?
I can always, if you just hold on for a second.
Yes, we have time.
I can hold on. I can get something. Let me see. Where's mine?
People, Barbara will be right back.
I have a book. I have several books, as a matter of fact,
Okay,
that I call collections of poetry and prose, and I call them seasons. This is
okay, seasons.
called seasons
Okay.
because that's what I do. I write basically according to the seasons in my spirit.
Okay,
Yeah, in my spirit, not in the air. The seasons in my spirit.
in your spirit.
So that's how.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I didn't know if you were talking about the summer, the fall, or
No, I was talking about the seasons in my spirit.
right. Okay.
How I write. Let's see. I have a piece here that's called A Good Friend. Let me see if I want to write, so I want to share that. This is from, I don't know what it's from. Anyway, it says, a good friend is, my heart always keeps my favorite memories buried deep inside. Your smiles, your reaffirming touch, your reassuring, reinforcing looks. Whenever my life is wild and oh so hectic, I can always count on you to come to my reason and my rescue. With affirmations of encouragement, love, and support. So when I think of the most important person in my life, I always think of you.
Oh,
You have helped to make my world a better place, as only a true best friend can do. If I need understanding, you always try to. If I need comforting, you share my pain. If I need to cry, you lend me your shoulder. So on this day, I just want to say thank you for being my best friend, because a good friend is truly hard to find.
oh, thank you for sharing that.
My friend, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad you are my friend, because I remember, I think we met a couple years back.
Yes.
And then as time went on, you were showing me different sides of yourself. And I mean, thank you for sharing it. If you want to share another a gem or jewel of yours in that, I know you you have in there.
You talked about, it's ironic you could say that. You talked about the pieces, the two pieces that I shared that related to women and men.
Oh, please. I need to hear that. Because when I first heard it, I couldn't believe that you were writing something like that. So it got a little provocative, but that was okay. It's adults watching this.
Okay.
No.
This is the piece that you really liked.
Okay.
When the rains in your life turn your world upside down, I'll be the wind beneath your wings to help you soar to unlimited heights. I'll be your strength in the moment of your weakness, the sun in your midnight sky. I'll be your humor when you need laughter, your candle when you need a flicker of light. I'll be the trickle to stimulate your joy every morning. The fruit of your essence to pamper and nourish you at night. I will look upon you as the treasure of my heart, but yet be mindful enough to look upon your needs as only being diamonds in the rough. I'll be your rapture when you invite me to explore the depth of your universe, as I unite with you at the point of no return. With love, honor, dignity, and truth, yesterday I stood before you as a promise. Tomorrow I will walk beside you as an anchor. But today I stand before you and offer you my oneness, all that I am, the uncompromising essence of me, a one woman's man.
Oh, thank you for that. I felt it. People, did you feel that? If you didn't feel that, you're not even alive. But I'm telling, look at that. Look at, I gotta put my glasses on too. Look, that's making me feel good. Mine too.
And then my other, I call it my other sultry piece. I couldn't leave the women out.
Oh no, please don't do that.
I am the wind, softly but caressingly blowing through your span of time. I am the sun, warmly but penetratingly absorbing into the pores of your being. I am the green grass that caresses your body when you playfully roll and rest upon my breast. I am the drop of rain that sensuously tickles your body on a warm summer's day. I am the snow that crunches and melts as you plow through me at the height of a climaxing storm. I am the fire that crackles and roars, but then disintegrates into fleshy ashes as the flames begin to smother. I am the pot of gold at the end of the mind-like rainbow that encircles your heart. I am the net that catches all of your heavens and your hells. I am your restlessness turned comforter in the middle of every night, in the beginning and in the end, now and forevermore. I am the giver and the gift. Who am I? I'm every woman.
Oh, I mean, you painted a beautiful picture. I mean, people, use your imagination and you hear the words, they just painted the whole picture about the woman and what was happening and oh my. See that? It just blinded me so much I gotta put my sunglasses back on, Barbara. I'm just enjoying this with you. I mean, thank you for sharing the gentleman's piece and sharing the piece about the women.
And then there's one more piece that you've never heard, that this is for, you know, sometimes you go someplace and you see someone and you sort of make contact with them spiritually or mentally. This piece is about this kind of relationship.
Okay.
The National Black Unity News is a multi-talented network of individuals across a vast array of fields. It's a solution-based periodical that's uniqueness places it in a class of its own. It has expanded its reach from here and abroad to parts of the diaspora, and it's still growing. Networks are still being formed, which have galvanized an overwhelming interest in the publication.
Although we never touched, my eyes slowly caressed yours, quietly but sporadically, absorbing the tenderness of the moment. Our minds embraced and reached a sensuous height of compatibility. Not a sound was made, yet our words flowed freely through closed lips. And although we never touched, our bodies clung from across the room, yet neither of us moved.
Hmm.
But yet I felt your hands upon my breast as my
Ouch.
foot lay gently on your thigh.
All right.
Our lips slowly, rhythmically rubbed and nibbled the length of our moist, trembling, impatient bodies, creating moments of ecstasy as our minds united and ascended to a climactual heaven. Our hearts beat wildly in syncopated timing as we both submerged from exhaustion, compelling moments of blissful submission as destiny guided our paths and ecstasy balanced our souls. And although we never touched, we each absorbed the tenderness of the moment.
Oh my. And you know what I loved what I loved about that, Barbara, is because they say that 99% of communication is nonverbal.
Yes, yes.
Nonverbal. That was in some sociology class I took at the university, and that's so true.
That's true.
Those words that you spoke, I mean, you could have a thought about somebody and never say anything. You could see them, admire them, and never had touched them.
There you go.
You had a thought, and they could be having a thought about you too. And oh my, oh my. As I say, people, use your imagination. Okay? I don't have to say anything. I know we have some astute people in this network and people abroad that will see these interviews. And I mean, you have to have gotten that. Oh, thank you, Barbara, for sharing it. I mean, that was a nugget in that Seasons book that you pulled out.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes.
I mean, now when you're usually writing something like that, the spirit moves you. Is it at night or day, or just you get something and you just jot it down? It could be anytime.
Anytime. Like I said, I wake up in the middle of the night. I have a thought, and I have to write it down right away.
Just write it down.
I keep my little tape recorder beside me. Let me show you something.
Mm-hmm.
You see how many I have?
You're right. Okay. Yeah. I have about 3 of those just like that size.
Yes, yeah. I have not 8 of them now. I have every room in my house.
Oh my goodness. Well, you won't miss a thought. Well, because you're right. In the moment when you get the thought about something, you gotta put it down on pen to paper, speak it, record it. You have to do something with it because it could be gone forever.
It could be gone.
It could be gone. I mean, Barbara, you just touched my heart with those prolific poems that you wrote about the men and the women, and about the person that saw the person in the room and they hadn't even touched. What was it called? The name of that last one?
Although we never touched.
Oh, did you all get that? Although we never touched. See, and that kind of stuff goes on in the workplace, the church, the library, wherever. Supermarket, somebody you might see that you admire, but you don't know them. And these kind of thoughts come across your mind. See, and I mean, you do amazing things with words, you know. I mean, you just do amazing things with them. And I remember, let's go back a little bit to give some people a little history about what David had said, and I think it was David at Dempsey said, people, please get your editorials out the 5th of the month, the date of the 5th,
right,
month before press. Okay, right now we are in August.
Right.
August the 5th is passed. This is the time, crunch time to get those drafts in. So Barbara can look them over. And you see she's got the touch. That she can look your words over and make your words come to life. And if you wanted to say something that wasn't just right, I like what you said, Barbara. Sometimes it's just one word.
One word.
Just one word. I don't say just one word. There could be a synonym that could be used and it's better than the word you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Put that word in, just bring that whole statement to life or that thought to life, you know. But that was implemented, I think, a year or two back when David said, that's what we need to do. Because getting closer to press, you would have already had enough time to look at
Right, right.
all the editorials that were going to go to press, because you can't show up the week before and then say, can you submit this? That I don't think you're going to make the cut. No, and I don't think you're going to make the cut. And it's not, as you know, that's not fair to you because you're looking at a lot of editorials.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You're looking at a lot of them. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer, in between, you know.
Yeah, because when I actually look for, I really look for the word, the phrase that you're going to use at the right time to make your sentence flow so that the reader grasps it the first time around. So they don't have to read it 2 or 3 times to understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I look at the creativity. I look if you have had a vivid imagination, but sticking to the word theme that you started with, not jump from one theme to the next theme in a different paragraph, the following paragraph. Some people do that.
Mm-hmm.
I also look for what is called unpretentious and honesty. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you write like you're talking to an audience,
Right.
you know, and not just writing for yourself. Every piece that I write, I think about an audience whom I'm going to relate this to.
Right.
You know, because if it's just for myself, I mean, why should I write it?
Right. Yeah.
But to get responses like that from you and many other people, that's what I write it for.
That's what you write for. And I learned that when I was at the university. The professor said, know who your audience is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're writing to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
As you know who the audience is, now put into your mind the way you want to write it to convey your thoughts.
Right.
Thoughts across. And I mean, I like writing and all, and I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, it's fun. I like picking the right word to put in there for either a statement or question, whatever it may be. Picking the right word is a lot of it right there, 100% of all of it.
That's it.
You get the right word. And, you know, and then you look it over and I like that. You say, Wayne, I sent you something. Take a look at this. I made a couple changes. Fine by me. I love it, you know.
Well, what makes your writing so good is that 99% of the time you've already spelled out to the reader exactly what you want them to know and when and how you want them to know it. That's what I like about your writing.
Oh, thank you, Barbara. Coming from you, that means a great deal. I mean, I take some time to sit there and I try to stay with the theme throughout the paragraphs. And if I change a thought, it's because I'm using something as a segue just to go into something else. And then the thought has been changed. No, thank you. I mean, I've learned a lot. I mean, all of it's like being in class. And it's just absorbing and taking it in. How long have you been with the paper now, Barb?
Since its inception, I guess. How long has it been?
I believe they said, I was talking to David. Well, David and I were hanging out Sunday. This travel people, he went to Ghana. So we kicked it off. He was in Sykesville with his family. I think David said the paper's been around now 7 years.
I've been with them 7 years now.
7 years, because I've been with the paper since 2018. So it's like five and a half years, something like that. So, no, I'm glad to see that you're still around, because since I've been here, I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I'm sure you have too.
Definitely.
I'm sure you have. Where you are in the publication and what we're doing at, they call this a ministry. What else would you like to see that you could to achieve if you could make some changes some type of way?
There are still some people who make a lot of grammatical errors, tiny little errors, who won't submit to my going over it. I think that should be something that should be reinforced
Yes.
because it affects the flow of the paper. You know, people look at that. You know,
Yes.
I remember David saying with the initial paper, he was there when I came on board because I made so many corrections, so forth, because the paper was a failure in a way because there were so many grammatical errors in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
But look at that, you know. And even though the person who's submitting the article thinks that they have accomplished and made this major contribution, in which they have, when you write a sentence and it doesn't flow and someone has to go back through it and pick a word out, that's not healthy. That's not ministry oriented.
Mm-hmm.
About who's going to be on the receiving end of that and how they want to be able to flow through your diction and how you express and convey an idea and a point of view on how you present your article. It's got to flow.
It's got to flow. Meeting a couple years back, and some people got upset with the fact that they didn't want their work proofread. They didn't want a second set of eyes to go over the paper, over their writings or their editorials.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you got a point there. That is something that really does need to be enforced because it reflects on the publication.
It does. It does.
As a body. I mean, now, I don't know, what is it? Maybe we have about 50 some editors in here now.
Mm-hmm.
The paper is up to, I think it's 62 or so pages, I believe. And still bordering on more pages to come. I think it's somewhere about 60 some odd pages. And yeah.
What I try to impress upon people is that as and I'm using you again as an example, as your experienced writer, I use your thoughts to enhance your writing, not thoughts.
Yes.
Because when I give things back to you, I have not changed anything except a couple of words, but they're still your thoughts.
Yeah. See, I love the exchange. I love when you tell me that because you'll send me an email and then I'll look at it. And sometimes it's just what Barbara said. It's no more than a word or two.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I had to look at it. What was it? And I look, you have the original, and then I look at it side by side, and I go, "Oh, okay. You just changed a word or two."
That's it. Correct.
Yeah.
Accidents, you know.
Yeah, and I definitely I conditioned myself to write in a way where I wanted to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the theme is, I wanted to flow. So you're on a little journey with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking you somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to convey to you these thoughts so you get exactly what I'm talking about. Because I'm talking about these financials. And I like to, a lot of times, break them down in layman's terms. And then I'll switch sometimes and then go into what I do with this podcasting and this editing stuff that we do and this production stuff we do. And that's all together in a different paragraph. So, but no, Barbara, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I want to say thank you for sharing those jewels with us. Sharing those jewels with us and letting people see that you are quite the poet and the artist. You know, I just got to put my glasses on too so I can have fun with you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I just had to put my glasses and I'm hanging out with you. So I gotta put my glasses. Barbara, in closing, is it anything you want to say to people that will help inspire them to try to write better and taking the time to get their thoughts to flow? So by the time it gets to you, it's not much you really have to do to it. But their job can be harder if you're looking at something that's not flowing at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just think of, like I said, the three things. Creativity, gotta be there. You gotta be unpretentious and honest about what you're writing so that your audience will be able to receive it in the way that you are sending it to them. Then you gotta be organized and have logical progression. You know, as you work out what you're working through, so that you know exactly what your theme is. And then, first of all, you have to have a passion for writing.
Yes.
You really have to have a passion for writing. The tone has got to be just right, because the tone delivers facts about specific subjects. You know, so the tone has got to be there. You got to have the right attitude about writing. You know, you can't just say, I think I'll just jot this down. No.
Oh, no.
You got to have the right attitude about writing. You got to have some emotion about writing.
Yes.
I'm emotionally equipped about writing.
Yeah.
Writing turns me on.
Yeah. And I've seen it, I've witnessed it, I've felt it, and you critique things that I've done, and you inspire me every time I write. I know it's going to come across your desk, so I pour myself into it, and I work on getting it right the first time. Even if by the time you see it, I've gone over it 5 times. So, but Barbara, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you, sharing these gems with me. And look, we're wearing our shades. That's why I'm wearing mine, because you have yours on.
Okay, well, on my way out, let me tell you what I think about love.
Okay.
Let me tell you what love is, and I'd like to share a little bit of love with everybody.
Okay, you're gonna leave us out on that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave you out on this one.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna keep my glasses on because it might be blinded.
No, you're gonna say, this is sweet.
Okay.
I'm sharing this because I work with some young couples sometimes, and this is one of the things I tell them about what love is. It says, love is unexplainable. Its substance you cannot reach. Its power, you'll never match it. But its pain, you cannot teach. Love can be undying, or it can slowly fade away. It can cause you many, many heartaches, or it can make your every single day. Love can drain your emotions, or it can fill you up with joy. But you can't take it as a plaything, and you should never try to buy it like a toy. Love can make you believe when there is nothing or no one to believe in. It can make you live right, or it can even make you sin. Love can make you laugh, or it can break your heart. It can bring your whole wide world together, or sometimes it can tear your internal world apart. Love can make you do many things, but its effect is different on every one of us. And this much I personally know to be true. But just remember that the very final outcome will always depend on you.
Oh, thank you, Barbara. Thank you for sharing that gem. You all, I hope you felt it like I did, because I'm telling you, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that gem, Barbara. It's been definitely been a pleasure. I adore you and what you do. You just keep on doing it. May God bless you in everything that you do and everything you touch.
You know what's funny? You got more out of me tonight than I've done in 7 years. You got more talking out of me tonight than I've done in 7 years.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and Barbara, it's been a pleasure.
All right.
It's been a see that I had to put mine on because it's like we're matching pair. Thank you, Barbara, for coming on this showcase and telling people who you are in this Who's Who showcase.
Okay.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for blessing us.
Thank you for having me.
It was more than a pleasure.
Okay.
More than a pleasure. I'll see you soon again, Barbara.
All right. Night.
Okay. All right.